Greetings lords and ladies, and welcome to the Westeros vibe, where broken men can be mended given the right circumstances. Before we start, I would like to remind you that links to every article or video covered this week can be found in the video description below. Also in the description, you will find timestamps so that you can choose which story you will want to view. We are starting off with 10 actors who were newly cast in Game of Thrones. Although it's not really relevant to the show as it stands, this story can give us a glimpse of an alternate reality where all of these choices could have been made. These are Ian McNeice as Illyrio Mopatis, Daenerys and Viserys' benefactor. He would have looked the part with Illyrio being described as a large man, and his acting chops would also have come in handy. Guy Garvey, frontman of the band Elbow, would have played a gladiator ringmaster, but couldn't due to his schedule. Dominic West, also known as McNulty from the HBO show The Wire, one of the best shows of all time. He could have played the part of Mance Rayder. Given his range seen in The Wire, we could have gotten a Mance closer to the one in the books, which would have been good fun indeed. Easy Maekla Small could have been Sansa Stark, however Sophie beat her by a hair. Danny Dyer tried auditioning 3 times, one role being that of Pip. Gillian Anderson apparently rejected the chance to play an unspecified role. Some speculate that it may have been Catelyn Stark or Melisandre. Could you imagine Scully as Cat? When she heard of the conspiracy against Jon Arryn, we could have had a jolly old X-Files moment between her and Ned. Ned, you're nuts! Jennifer Ayle was the Catelyn Stark from the original pilot, but was sacked and replaced with Michelle Fairley. Tamsin Merchant was another actor who didn't survive the pilot, as she played Daenerys Targaryen. She probably wasn't as marketable as Emilia Clarke, so that's probably the reason. George R. R. Martin had a small part in the pilot also, as a guest at Dany and Drogo's wedding feast. Lily Allen had the chance to play Yara Greyjoy, but she refused for one very good reason. Her brother, Alfie Allen, would have been her show brother too, Theon. When they met in the show, there was a scene where Theon, not knowing that the woman he had met was his sister, proceeded to flirt with her very insistently. It's one thing when Cersei and Jaime perform some twincest on the show, when in real life they are not related, but in the case of these two, that scene would have been way more disturbing. It makes you think what the show would have been, doesn't it? Moving on with pictures and spoilers from filming at Mesa Roldan, as Season 6 filming continues. As the title suggests, this story contains massive spoilers for Season 6. You have been warned. Reports have been coming in of battle scenes being shot, featuring 40 extras and 7 principal actors. One character who was identified was Tyrion, so it will be part of the Mereen plot. Another identified player was Dany, so it will appear that the group will reunite with her during Season 6. Next up we have Game of Thrones finale dated for November. The last episode of the Game of Thrones game from Telltale is due for release on November 17th, which will presumably conclude the story of House Forrester. The first episode has also become free to play on consoles and mobile devices. If you are interested in interactive story games, then you can give it a try. In other news, Game of Thrones filming spoiler. Has a major moment finally come? Repeating, spoiler alert. A set picture has surfaced showing Dany in King's Landing, accompanied by Margaery and Cersei. Whether they were taking a break and decided to hang out in costume for a bit, or this really is a massive spoiler, only time will tell. Moving on with A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms enjoys Powerhouse debut. First, let's read this excerpt from George's blog. Cool news from both sides of the Atlantic. The new illustrated hardcover of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms has debuted on the New York Times bestseller list as number 2 in hardcover fiction. Over in the UK, the British edition has landed as number 3 on the Times list. Bernard Cornwell's new Utrecht novel is number 1, of course. Pretty good for a collection of 3 previously published novellas. This book contains the 3 existing Dunk and Egg novellas, and if you're interested, I have done a review of it on my channel. Link in the description below. Next up we have, this Game of Thrones character is absolutely officially dead. Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers yet again. Beware. The character is, of course, Jon Snow. Nah, kidding. It's Stannis Baratheon. In an upcoming guidebook to the show, his fate is clearly revealed. So rest in peace, Stannis, and may you burn in 7 hells for burning your daughter. Or freeze because you seem to like fire. Moving on, we have Outlander actor Tobias Menzies reprised his role as Edmure Tully. As you know that Riverrun will feature in Season 6, along with Jaime and the Blackfish, it makes sense for Edmure to be there as the show appears to recreate, at least in part, the particular scenario involving these characters in the books. It's nice to have him back after so many years of Frey imprisonment. Moving on to the lands of YouTube, we have more new videos to briefly mention this week. Elio and Linda have released a video discussing A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, the newly released anthology of the Dunk and Egg novellas. It features behind the scenes info about how George wrote the novellas, and some analysis to boot. History of Westeros podcast have released a Q&A video in which they tackle questions sent by viewers. It's packed with information and speculation, and much fun to be had by all. Preston Jacobs has released part 2 in his The Genetics of Dragons and War series, covering the period during the Dance of the Dragons and after. He has also released a guide to the 1000 Worlds universe of George R. R. Martin's, explaining in broad strokes all the novels and short stories set within it. This is important as many speculate that the planet of Ice and Fire is also part of this universe, so some stories may be relevant to the bigger plot. That is the news for the week ending on October 25th. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, please like, share, comment and subscribe. And stay tuned. Goodbye everyone.